as you wait on the Lord, you learn to see things at His perspective and function under His directives. And I had a peace knowing He was in complete control. The spring of my life began in Iron Mountain, Michigan. I was born on a farm and raised with 6 children. I'm the oldest. And I used to work with the tractor with my dad, and I loved doing that, planting the potatoes and picking all the weeds. I remember playing a game when we were young called hide and seek, as I'm sure all of you do. And you'd have to turn around and count to 50, and 48, 49, 50. Ready or not, here I come. I can remember Mom singing hymns as we cleaned the house. This instilled in me the Lord. Then this brings me to the summer of my life. That brings me to my life in high school in meeting the boy next door. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and very quiet and shy. But the thing that impressed me the most is he went to church every weekend with his mom and his brothers. And that instilled in me a special need for the Lord. After graduation came marriage and our move from Michigan to Wisconsin. By attending church every week, I thought it would cement our relationship and make us a family, but God was way down on my list of priorities. It seems like we go to church every week for an hour, leave, and not think about Him again till the following weekend. You know, I always knew about Jesus in my head, but I didn't know Him personally in my heart. One warm summer day, I was driving with my aunt from Texas, and we always had a great conversation about the Lord, and she'd answer all my questions. Who is Jesus? How do you get to heaven? How do you find peace in your life? Well, as we were talking, she said, I think we should pull the car over to the side of the road and pray. So I did. I'd never prayed out loud before or in front of someone. That was foreign to me. But as we both bowed our heads and we both prayed, I asked the Lord into my heart and life and received Him as my Lord and Savior. I wrote a letter to my sister who was serving as a missionary in Bolivia with her family, and I told her about how I found the Lord, how I love Him, and I want to serve Him. But then one day at the kitchen sink, I felt doubts creeping into my thoughts saying, you didn't really mean what you said. You aren't worthy of God's love. So many negative thoughts. Well, I heard the mailman go by, and I went out to get the mail, and I received a letter from my sister, and she said, you might have doubts and fears about your decision. You have to turn from those thoughts through prayer with Christ. And that gave me the assurance I needed. I never thought that thought again, and He's been the center of my life since that day, July 15th, 1980. The fall of my life began with our son getting in trouble with the law. He made some bad decisions and ended up in a correctional facility. And this was a whirlwind for Greg and I. We took him to church, and we thought we were bringing him up in the way God wanted us to bring him up as a family. But as I was driving home one day, the Lord told me, Wendy, I made 2 perfect children, Adam and Eve, and they disobeyed. And that gave me the assurance I needed to let go and put my total trust in the Lord. Sometimes in the fall, we get those hard driving rains, and we heard the crash of thunder when our daughter Heather was diagnosed with acute lymphocytic leukemia. The leukemia was so advanced that she was told she only had a few months to live. But Heather and Brian have a beautiful relationship with the Lord. They totally depended on Him to sustain them and keep them in the palm of His hands. And that was reassuring to Greg and I. The four of us prayed, and Heather was helped with the chemo, and she is alive today and doing very, very well. On January of 2000, you could say a blizzard hit our home. I had my yearly mammogram, and the report came back. Now I had cancer. I was totally devastated with this, but I depended on my faith, my family, my friends to get me through this. And as you wait on the Lord, you learn to see things at His perspective and function under His directives. And I had a peace knowing He was in complete control. As I look back on those times, I can't imagine going through them without the Lord to lean on. And He guided me through that storm, and I too am now cancer-free. And as mother and daughter, Heather and I shared our faith in God, and that was a total blessing to both of us. Remember, someday the Lord is going to say, ready or not, here I come. Matthew 24:44 says, therefore be ready. Are you ready to accept the Lord into your heart and life and ask Him to be your Savior?